Q and Review, celebrating 40 years of audio production, welcomes you to this week's edition of the Glasgow Times Sports podcast, recorded from our studio in the Bishopbriggs Media Centre and by our volunteers working from home. Keep up to date with Q and Review news via our Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, or Instagram at Q and Review. That's @CUEANDREVIEW, or get in touch with us directly by emailing information@qandreview.com. That's INFORMATION @CUEANDREVIEW.com, or by calling us on 0141 772 3979. Please like and share our podcast and give us constructive feedback.
Evening Times Sport, October 8. Glasgow Warriors confirm 1872 Cup match against Edinburgh at Hampden. Report by David Irvin. Glasgow Warriors will host the first leg of the 1872 Cup against Edinburgh at Hampden in an unprecedented move for rugby. The Scotstoun club will play the opening leg of the competition at Hampden on Sunday, December 22. Kick-off will be at 3 p.m. Tickets for the match will go on general sale on Friday, October 25 at 10 a.m. Warriors Managing Director Al Kellogg commented, "This is a massive moment in the history of not just our club, but rugby within our city and our Glasgow Warriors community. To be able to take one of our biggest games of the season to one of Scotland's national stadia is a reflection of the journey that we have been on as a club, as we continue to grow the game in our city, the west of Scotland, and Caledonia regions. It is a journey that has seen the Warrior Nation follow us through thick and thin, from the club grounds across Scotland that shape our Warriors to the High Veld in Pretoria, where we became URC champions. To be able to take this fixture to Hampden is a reflection of the support upon which this club is built, and we know that our supporters will make Hampden an atmosphere unlike any other. We are excited by the opportunity this fixture presents, not only on the field but off it as well. We also hope to welcome a new audience that may otherwise not attend a Glasgow Warriors match, especially in the run-up to the festive holidays. I would like to thank everyone involved in making this fixture happen, from our friends at the Scottish FA, Scottish Rugby, United Rugby Championship and Premier Sports, to the efforts of everyone involved at Scotstoun. Our ask to the Warrior Nation is to now make this as big an occasion as we possibly can. I firmly believe that we have earned the opportunity through our performances over the last season to show our club, our values and our players to a new audience on one of Scotland's biggest stages. We know that Glasgow is not just a football city. Let's show that to the world." Captain Kyle Steyn, speaking on the club website, added, "It is such an exciting opportunity. Derby matches are already the type of fixture that you want to be involved in as a player. So to have the chance to run out at an iconic Glasgow venue is extremely special. Having our own big game concept is an outstanding reflection of the support that this club has year in, year out. They get behind us wherever we are, and they give us that extra edge time and again. We know that 1872 Cup atmospheres are always electric, and I cannot wait to see and hear the buzz that the Warrior Nation will create at Hampden. Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, October 8. Nicky Devlin on his first Scotland call-up. Report by Lana Mackay. It has been a surreal week for Nicky Devlin. The Aberdeen fullback scored the equaliser in a dramatic 3-2 win over Hearts on Sunday night, with the Pittodrie crowd bouncing as the Dons extended their winning run to a remarkable 13 games. To add to that, the 30-year-old received his first ever Scotland call-up as Steve Clarke drafts in several new faces amid a defensive injury crisis. Now Devlin, who spent his summer in Germany with the Tartan Army, will link up with the national squad for the upcoming Nations League clashes with Portugal and Croatia. Asked to sum up his week, Devlin said, "It has been brilliant, to be fair. Those are the only words to describe it. It has also been a bit surreal. If you are a football player, then this is the kind of level you want to get to. The call-up was brilliant, but my focus was on the Hearts game, and we managed to win, which was also brilliant." The former Livingston captain says being told of his Scotland call-up was a bit of a surreal moment. "I had joked with my wife about being called up. Now I have. I just want one cap. Get me on the park at one point. It would mean everything. You are representing your country, and it is a dream. It is the dream of millions of people to be in this position. I won't take it for granted, and I hope to get on the park. For me, I just concentrate on myself and the team. I know if I am not playing well for the team, and the Aberdeen are not doing well, then you are not going to be there. The first focus was, can we start winning games again at the start of the season? We kept winning, and you obviously put yourself in the window where the manager can notice you. If I had said come September or October, I want to be in the Scotland squad, then I would be lying. When you start the season as well as we have, it becomes a possibility. I have managed to get in this time." It has not been an easy road for Devlin, who came close to quitting football altogether 10 years ago, after he was released from Stenhousemuir by then-manager Scott Booth. But he discovered a new lease of life at Ayr United, taking on the captaincy at Somerset Park, before securing a move to England with League One side Walsall. Devlin then went on to sign for Livingston in the Scottish top flight, where he spent 2 of his 4 years as team captain. In 2023, he became Barry Robson's first signing as then Aberdeen boss, joining the Dons on a 2-year deal that summer. Under Swedish head coach Jimmy Thelen, who took the reins in June, it has been a remarkable start to the season for Aberdeen, who sit level in points with last year's champions Celtic, with the two going head-to-head at Celtic Park straight after the international break. Said Devlin, "I have never won this many games in my career. At Livingston we went 14 games unbeaten the year we got to the cup final, but it was win after win. There were maybe a few draws. The amount of wins we have had has been phenomenal. Last week the focus was on can we beat Hearts and go into the Celtic game level in points with them. Now I have 2 massive games before that. The manager has said that we will take it one match at a time. My next focus is Croatia, and hopefully I can get on the park and play. It is a big 2 weeks for me personally. We take confidence from the way we started the season and the way we ended the last one. We were unlucky not to win every game after the split because we drew the last game. We are in good form and there is a bit of confidence throughout the side. We know we can be better. There have been times where we could have been better, but we managed to find a way. Listen, we can be rubbish at Celtic Park, but if we can find a way, then I would take that. Report by Lana Mackay. Evening Times Sport, October 8. Injured Rangers ace shares positive comeback update. Report by David Irwin. Rabbi Matondo has provided a positive injury update as he targets a return to the Rangers' first team. The Welsh winger has been sidelined through a hamstring issue after being forced off against Celtic in September. The 24-year-old Matondo has played 6 times for Rangers under Philippe Clement this term, before his season was halted by the injury setback. However, the forward appears to be nearing a return to action, as he shared an image of himself training in Rangers gear on his personal Instagram account. Matondo could be seen at the Rangers training centre with a small dressing on his knee as he worked with the ball. The winger simply added an emoji with the word "soon" to the image as he posted on his Instagram story on Monday. The positive Matondo news comes after Clement suggested the player could still be a while away from a return to competitive action. Asked for an injury update on Danilo, Ridvan Yilmaz, Matondo and Oscar Cortes, Clement had said on Sunday, "I expect in training to have Danilo and Ridvan, maybe, and to the other 2, not yet. It's too early for them." While Matondo appears to be making progress in his rehab, Cortes is set for an extended spell out of action. Pushed on Cortes' condition and whether he would be out for a lengthy spell, Clement confirmed yes, that's going to be longer term. Report by David Irwin. Evening Times Sport, October 8. Trump and his new golf course not welcome in Aberdeen. Report by Craig Williams. Scottish Green MSP Maggie Chapman has said that Donald Trump and his new golf course are not welcome in Aberdeenshire. It comes following the announcement that the former United States President will be opening his new course in Many next summer. Trump International said the new championship links will be one of the most environmentally friendly and sustainable courses ever built, with views across the North Sea. Trump and his son Eric broke ground last spring at the site, which is designed to accompany the existing world-ranked championship links at Trump International near Balmedy, north of Aberdeen. Trump International Scotland said that the course is set to be one of the most environmentally friendly and sustainable courses ever built, and will form with the existing links course the greatest 36 holes in golf. However, MSP Maggie Chapman, who represents the North East region, slammed the project, saying, "Another Trump vanity project is the last thing we need. We should be protecting our natural environment, not offering it up to a racist climate change denier with a long history of lies and dodgy business dealings. Scotland cannot be a country where anyone with the money is able to buy whatever land and property they want without question. He is a thoroughly discredited and dishonest individual. Any land developed should be in the interest of all people, not only those with an expensive hobby. Time and time again, Donald Trump has proven that he's only interested in one thing, himself. He is not welcome here. He is a serial liar, and he should not be allowed to encroach even further on the Aberdeenshire landscape than he already has. Report by Craig Williams. Evening Times Sport, October 9. Rugby fans will be served alcohol at Hampden. Report by Ewan Payton. Rugby fans will be served alcohol at Hampden during Scotland's biggest derby later this year. In December, Glasgow Warriors and Edinburgh Rugby will meet at the National Football Stadium in a scheduled quirk. The Scotland club will play the opening leg of the competition at Hampden on Sunday, December 22, with a 3 p.m. kick-off. Tickets for the match will go on general sale on Friday, October 25 at 10 a.m. One of the major contentious issues around Scotland Rugby's biggest fixture revolves around alcohol legislation. The sale of booze has been banned inside Scottish football stadiums since 1980. Al Kellogg, Managing Director of Warriors, has confirmed that alcohol will be permitted for this game, just 1 week on from the Scottish League Cup final, where there will not be one drop of beer sold. Kellogg confirmed, yes, there will be the usual licensing. They are used to concerts here, so there are no issues from that perspective. It will be the usual setup they have for concerts, so supporters will be able to enjoy a drink at their seats. I think there may have been some challenges at the Celtic Park final, but they're used to holding concerts here. They're set up for it. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, October 9. Celtic opt out of SPFL TV deal contract. Report by David Irvin. Celtic have reportedly opted out of an SPFL contract with broadcaster Premier Sports. It is reported the Parkhead Club have turned down money from the TV company and removed themselves from a contract over broadcast rights. As a result, the Scottish Premiership table-topping clash between Celtic and Aberdeen will not be shown live on TV, and it now falls into the 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon slot. The Daily Mail reports Celtic officials were reluctant to change the kick-off time for the match to allow Premier Sports to provide live TV coverage. It is thought the club staff did not wish to inconvenience season ticket holders by moving the kick-off time at short notice from the scheduled arrangement within the broadcast blackout zone. A deal between the SPFL and Premier Sports handed the company the right to broadcast 2 additional games from any Scottish Premiership stadium on top of the Sky Sports agreement. Premier Sports' Scottish football contract, separate from their League Cup sponsorship, offers the right to cover up to 20 games live on TV. Sky Sports have the main Scottish football TV deal, with up to 60 live matches to be shown a season from the Premiership. That contract runs until 2029. However, Sky Sports will not show the match between Celtic and Aberdeen, having already broadcast from Parkhead twice. from the maximum of 5 at each ground, and with selections made in early September. Premier Sports could have stepped in to cover the match live for an additional £75,000 fee, which is double to £150,000 if 2 matches are broadcast from one venue in the season. But Celtic have knocked back the offer and opted out of the contract. It comes after Rangers saw their attendance dip for the televised match against St Johnstone at Ibrox last weekend, after it was moved to be shown on Premier Sports. The change in fixture time to an 8 p.m. slot saw fans turn out in lesser numbers, with the added complications of the Great Scottish Run in Glasgow and the subway closing at 6 p.m. Celtic's choice to opt out of the TV deal is the second occasion in which a club has removed themselves from a commercial contract after Rangers' lengthy dispute over the Cinch League sponsorship. Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, October 9. Craig Gordon admits he thought his Scotland days were over. Report by Ewan Booth Robertson. Craig Gordon firmly believed his international career was over when he dejectedly trudged off the Hampden turf in June after Scotland's 2-2 draw with Finland. It should have been a night of celebration for the iconic goalkeeper as he received his 75th cap, but it was immersed in disappointment. Steve Clarke handed Gordon the final 20 minutes of the Euro 2024 warm-up clash after earlier informing the Hearts goalkeeper that he would not be part of his squad for Germany. Even ignoring the incredible resilience shown to recover from a horrendous leg break, Clarke's decision seemed harsh, given the 41-year-old's vast experience and ability in comparison to those who travelled. It was widely assumed that Gordon's Scotland career had reached an unjust ending, but he is now back in the fold and favourite to start the Nations League double-header against Croatia and Portugal after Angus Gunn's injury. Yes, absolutely, Gordon replied, when asked if his international career was over. I had to ask the kitman for a new tracksuit because I didn't think I'd be needing that again. It was nice to see everybody again. It just shows you never know in football. On missing Euro 2024, Gordon added, it was hard. It took a few days, and to be realistic, probably a few weeks after that initial conversation. It is difficult for anybody to have that conversation, no matter which side of that you're on. I spoke to the manager, and it was a difficult one for him to deal with as well, but he had to make a decision. I know that's partly what comes with football, and the manager has got to make that call. So it was a difficult one for me to take on that day, but I had to just go away and work even harder to try and come back again. If that was going to be the last time I was going to play in a Scotland jersey out here, it was such an emotional build-up to that game, to think that was going to be the last time. Gordon had missed over a year of football after suffering a serious leg injury against Dundee United in December 2022. It was not the first time that the Hearts number 1 had shown incredible character to recover from adversity in his career, spanning 3 decades, and the proud Scotsman still tuned in to watch Euro 2024, despite his disappointment. Admitted Gordon, it was tough. Immediately after that, I managed to get away on holiday for a few days to get me out of Scotland, because that's all anybody wanted to talk to me about, and I didn't really want to talk about it. It was nice to have 3 or 4 days out of the country. I watched all the matches. You can't take that away from me. You still want the team to do well and the country to progress. You want everybody that you've left behind to have a successful time. But it was difficult not being there, having given everything I possibly could to the effort to try and be part of it. But that's not always under your full control. Bertie Vogts had handed Gordon his Scotland debut against Trinidad and Tobago over 20 years ago. But the final chapter of his international career could now arrive at the World Cup in 2026. Many players would have announced their retirement after missing out on potentially the first and last major international tournament of their careers. But that was never under consideration for Gordon. He added, "That's not me. That's not really in my character to be able to do that. I always want to be available for selection. As long as I'm playing football, I want to be available. Then it's up to the manager to decide whether to pick me or not. That's just not something I think about. I love playing football for Scotland every single time I've managed to do it. Hopefully I get the chance to do that again, which would be another amazing comeback." Before returning to the Scotland fold, Gordon needed to re-establish himself at Hearts amid strong competition from Zander Clark, but the veteran has started 8 of the last 10 games. "He's done very well," Gordon said of Clark. "He's obviously gone to the Euros as part of the squad. There's huge competition there, probably more so than any other club team, where you would not have 2 international goalkeepers at this level. Maybe when you go to the top end of the Premier League in England, you get a couple of internationals vying for the place. Especially for Scotland to have 2 at the same time. I think Alan and David were both at Hull at the same time. That probably wasn't ideal for the Scotland manager then either. It's going to be a battle at Hearts to keep myself in that position. Whoever wins that battle at any particular time is going to put themselves in the front seat here as well." Craig Gordon is also McDonald's Fun Football Ambassador, and he said it's great to see that McDonald's are providing these fun football sessions all across Scotland for free. McDonald's Fun Football is free, fun and open to all abilities, so perfect for kids who want to kick off their football journey. I've had first-hand experience of these sessions before, when I took my girls along, and they had a great time. I wish I had them when I was a youngster. Report by Ewan Booth Robertson. Evening Times Sport, October 9. Kyogo in heartfelt message to retiring Barcelona legend. Report by Lana Mackay. Celtic forward Kyogo Furuhashi has shared an emotional tribute to retiring Barcelona icon Andrés Iniesta. The Spaniard announced his retirement from football yesterday at the age of 40 after an illustrious career. A World Cup winner with Spain, Iniesta scored the winning goal in the 2010 final and won the Euros twice in 2008 and 2012, earning 131 caps for his country. The Barcelona legend was at the heart of some of the greatest midfields in history in the late 2000s and early 2010s, thanks to his partnerships with Xavi Hernandez and Sergio Busquets for both Spain and Barcelona. Kyogo played alongside Iniesta at Vissel Kobe between 2018 and 2021, with the pair winning the Emperor's Cup and the Japanese Super Cup together in 2019 and 2020. Those years left a huge impression on the Japanese forward, who posted a heartfelt message to his former teammate on social media after he announced his retirement. He wrote, "It seemed short, but it was long, intense and special time, being able to play together, sharing the time together. My precious days that I experienced so many things and improved myself. I never forget these and will never do. I really appreciate it. Thank you," says Kyogo. Report by Lana Mackay. Evening Times Sport, October 9. The Curious Case of Kemar Roofe. Report by Ewan Payton. Kemar Roofe scored some vitally important goals for Rangers. During his 4 years at the club, after signing for £4.5 million from Anderlecht in 2020, the striker helped fire the Ibrox side to their 55th Scottish Premiership title to stop Celtic winning 10 in a row. Roofe also played a big role in helping Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's side all the way to the Europa League final in Seville 2 years ago. The 31-year-old was released by Rangers in the summer as Philippe Clement waved goodbye to some big earners in the squad. Roofe was joined by Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom, Borna Barisic and John McLaughlin, as they all left as free agents at the start of June. Meanwhile, Connor Goldson was moved on for a fee later in the window. Of those names, the one major difference is that Roofe remains the only player without a new club. Roofe is a free agent 4 months after leaving Ibrox, where he scored 38 goals from 50 starts. Of course, his unfortunate injury record held him back and might well be the reason why he's still not found a new home since leaving Glasgow. But everything seems to have gone quiet in the search for a new club for Roofe. He was rumoured to be training with former club Oxford United earlier in the summer, but manager Des Buckingham said that back in August that those were false. When he confirmed Kemar Roofe has not been training with the club and he has not been in the club at all. He has had a wonderful career, certainly from here and where he's gone on to play. We have said we want to bring in a centre forward. We need to make sure they fit what we want them to do. Kemar has got a lot of strong qualities, as have a lot of other centre forwards that we're looking at. It's about taking our time and making sure we get the right decision because it is a very important one for us. Roofe was also rumoured to be in with a chance of signing for Wayne Rooney's Plymouth, but nothing has come of that so far. Report by Ewan Payton. East Dunbartonshire Sports Centre fully reopens after more than a year. Report by Ava White. A sports centre that was badly damaged after a fire broke out has now fully reopened. Bearsden Snow Sports Club announced that all of its facilities are available again, more than a year on from the blaze in July 2023. Despite the ski club being back in action within a week, the catering space where the fire took hold remained out of action until recently due to the damage it suffered. Gordon Scott, General Manager of BSC, said, "The fire was a real blow, but happily we were up and running with our sporting facilities within a week. Due to the damage to the catering area, it was not possible to reopen this aspect of our operation. We are back now, fully operational, with new and enhanced stylish facilities which we are very proud of. We want to say a big thank you to the SFRS, whose skill in tackling the blaze last year prevented a much worse outcome. We will be forever grateful for their heroic actions. The damage was caused after a bin on the upper floor caught fire and the blaze spread to the building. The Stockymuir Road Club revealed this space has been transformed into a brand new function suite, bar and glazed panoramic viewing point where skiers can be watched going down both of the club's slopes. BSC, which celebrated its 60th birthday last year, recently received a substantial cash boost from Glasgow businessman and philanthropist John Watson, a former president of the Bearsden Ski Club. After cutting a ribbon to mark the full reopening, John said, "I am delighted that the club is fully operational again after the fire. The improvements are remarkable and enhance the facilities enormously. Here's to the next 60 years. Billy McNeil, who is the current club president, explained that the Bearsden Ski Club will be focusing on encouraging members of the local community to use the enhanced facilities, and added, "We are thrilled to be back operating at full strength for our members and the local community, and we are proud to be part of it. We will now redouble our efforts in encouraging the community to use our new enhanced facilities, notably our function suite for events ranging from lunches to special occasions, so we can share our facilities with a wider audience. We can also thank John Watson. He has a long and proud association with the club, and his generosity is greatly appreciated by all members." Report by Eva White. Evening Times Sport, October 10. Ben Doak reveals personal social media blackout. Report by David Irvin. Scotland's starlet Ben Doak has revealed he has enforced his own personal social media blackout. The Liverpool winger, on loan at Middlesbrough, refuses to be drawn into the noise of social media after his meteoric rise, still within his teenage years. The 18-year-old has only made 17 professional appearances in his fledgling career, with 2 caps for Scotland on top, but has quickly learned tough lessons over the perils of social media. Celtic Academy graduate Doak has his head screwed on. He is not arrogant, and certainly not easily affected or influenced by those out with his close circle. However, it would have been understandable should some major praise from the likes of Jurgen Klopp or Steve Clarke have inflated his ego, and that's before any fan input on the matter. Doak, though, has a strong mindset and has quickly learned there is no room for complacency or any point in getting worked up over sensationalist or scathing remarks on social media. Said Doak, "Yes, you can of easily be a young player to get carried away quickly. I think when I first started playing games for Liverpool, coming off the bench, and when I made my first start, it's easy to fall into that and looking at social media and getting a bit too carried away. The first time I realised it was one game I wasn't great in. I wasn't good. I wasn't bad. The first thing you do, you go straight onto social media and you see everyone caning you, I think that was when I realised that these people are not your mates. They'll big you up and then they'll hit you down just as hard. I just don't look. It's the easiest thing to do, really, because it keeps you level-headed and you really know where you're at when you don't look at that. Doak has now called it quits on social media regarding his own performances, intent on instead focusing purely on coaching guidance for club and country. And he added, I think it's just easier, to be honest. It gets exhausting reading all the good and the bad. What's the point? The people that know what they're talking about are in the building with me. If I want to hear any feedback, I'll go to them. I won't go to social media. Doak has played 5 times this season for Loan Club Middlesbrough and is hopeful of his first full season in a first-team environment as a regular contributor. But the winger is confident he is not playing catch-up with other teenagers who may have far greater appearance numbers, albeit in a less competitive environment. Obviously, you've got other 18-year-old lads that are playing every week, but everyone's got their own journey, he said, on his hopes of a consistent run of games this season. My games are starting now. Some lads have been playing for 2 years already. Some lads might start playing next year, like other lads my age. But everyone's got their own journey, and mine is just starting now. It's good to be starting games. I don't put too much pressure on myself. I just feel if I get into a team and play them regularly at a decent level, as long as I'm going out there and enjoying it, the rewards will come on their own. Report by David Irwin. Evening Times Sport, October 10. Bernard Rodgers on his Celtic team selection heartbreaks. Report by Ewan Payton. Brendan Rodgers insists it feels like a crime being unable to hand out more first-team minutes to some of his Celtic fringe players. The likes of Louis Palmer, Yang, Luke McCowan, Mick Norocki and Stephen Welsh have all been given a rare start in a friendly match with Sligo Rovers. Barcelona loanee Alex Val has also been selected, with Greg Taylor still on the sidelines with injury. The Northern Irishman explained what that means to the Scottish Premiership champions and what they'd look to take from anything that they have to play. He told Celtic TV, "We came to Sligo with the story of Brother Walfrid and everything else that surrounds that. Once we were asked about the game, it was just about the timing and everything like that. It was a real privilege to come over to Ireland and to bring Celtic. There's a few things I mentioned to the players. Firstly, it was an opportunity for some of the senior players. Sometimes it feels like a crime to me that I cannot play them all. They give so much every single day. But that was an opportunity for some game time and to get some minutes into their legs. That was good in terms of improving their football fitness. Secondly, it was an opportunity for younger players because the pathway into the first team at Celtic is not easy. It's a hard path. So when you get the opportunity to impress, you have to take it and show your personality. The third thing that game gave us was an opportunity to inspire. I remember 18th May 1983 when I was 10. I went to watch Finn Harps against Celtic. 41 years later, I still remember that. I love football, and it was my first ever Celtic game, watching them live. It has stayed with me for the rest of my life, It increased my passion and love for football, but also for Celtic. I said to the players that they had an opportunity, that in 2065, which is 41 years' time, some child that comes here, you will inspire them by the way that you play and behave. Never miss that opportunity, and that's what we wanted out of that game. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, October 10. Celtic's Hatate has no complaints after failing to make Japan bench. Report by Mark Walker. Reo Hatate has insisted he has no complaints about being dragged halfway around the world after being called up for Japan and not even making the bench. The Celtic star was not involved in the matchday squad twice last month for his country, despite flying thousands of miles for Japan's World Cup qualifiers against China and Bahrain. However, ahead of last night's World Cup games in Saudi Arabia, the Hoops midfielder insisted he accepted the decisions made by Japan manager Hajime Moriyasu. Hatate said, "The team comes first. Whatever the manager decides is good for the team, I accept. Just by being selected for the squad means I am always being evaluated by the manager and his staff, and I respect that. If called upon, I will always do my best. I am happy to play in any position for my country. My role on the pitch changes depending on the players I am performing with. I think I can build an understanding with the other players in the team. My dream is to help the team by scoring goals and making assists in the future." Report by Mark Walker. Evening Times Sport, October 10. Jurgen Klopp finds new international position. Report by Press Association. Former Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has been named as Red Bull's global head of soccer. The 57-year-old German left Anfield in the summer after almost a decade in charge, during which he won the Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, Club World Cup, Super Cup and 2 League Cups. Klopp will join Red Bull on January 1, overseeing the company's network of clubs. A Red Bull statement read, "In his strategic role, Jurgen Klopp will not be involved in the club's day-to-day operations, but will focus on supporting the sports directors in advancing the Red Bull philosophy. He will also leverage his extensive network to aid in scouting top talent and contribute to the training and development of coaches." Klopp, who, according to reports, has a clause in his contract that would allow him to leave to become German manager, said he sees his new role primarily as a mentor. And he continued, "After almost 25 years on the sidelines, I could not be more excited to get involved in a project like this. The role may have changed, but my passion for football and the people who make the game what it is has not. By joining Red Bull at a global level, I want to develop, improve and support the incredible football talent that we have at our disposal. There are many ways that we can do this using the elite knowledge and experience that Red Bull possesses, to learning from other sports and other industries. Together we can discover what is possible. I see my role primarily as a mentor for the coaches and management of the Red Bull clubs, but ultimately I am one part of an organisation that is unique, innovative and forward-looking. As I said, this could not excite me more. Red Bull owns German side RB Leipzig, Austrian outfit Red Bull Salzburg, MLS side New York Red Bulls, and Brazilian clubs Red Bull Bragantino and Red Bull Brazil. It is also the shirt sponsor of Leeds after buying a minority stake in the Sky Bet Championship club earlier this year. Evening Times Sport, October 10. Judy Murray reveals her passion for pickleball when she attends Scotstoun event. Report by Sanja Suresh. Judy Murray believes she has the answer to getting more people more active in Scotland. Pickleball. The Scottish tennis coach and mother of Andy Murray spoke at the Skechers Pickleball Scottish Open at the weekend, which saw a record-setting 380 competitors compete in more than 900 matches at the National Badminton Centre at Glasgow Club Scotstoun. Judy first played pickleball, a mix of tennis, badminton and table tennis, in South Carolina in 2019. Since then, she has become an advocate for the sport. She said, "It's just fun and engaging, and it is incredibly inclusive, and for Scotland, it is a perfect fit for us. We have terrible weather. We have badminton courts everywhere, in every community centre and sports centre. Even church halls have badminton courts. So in terms of setting up quickly wherever you are, I think it's a perfect fit for getting more people more active more often in Scotland." Pickleball Scotland has revealed that participation in the sport has surged by more than 10,000% across the country, from just 50 players in 2018 to more than 5,200 this year. Anne Smiley, former Chief Executive of Badminton Scotland and current board member of Pickleball Scotland, recently predicted pickleball would overtake tennis as Scotland's most popular racket sport by 2030. She said, "It's the fastest growing sport I've ever seen. I'm absolutely convinced that with the right funding and institutional backing from Sport Scotland, pickleball will become Scotland's leading racket sport by the end of this decade." The tournament attracted players from 14 countries, including European champion Louis Laville and former Team Scotland Commonwealth Games table tennis stars Lucy Elliott and Katrina Whittaker-Stone. Pickleball is played on a smaller court with what looks like a large ping-pong bat and a perforated plastic ball, and it is easy to learn and suitable for all ages and skill levels. Report by Sanja Suresh. Evening Times Sport, October 10. Brendan Rodgers credits Celtic board over Premier Sports TV snub. Report by David Irvin. Brendan Rodgers reckons Celtic Chiefs have made the right decision to snub the Premier Sports TV deal. The Parkhead Club opted out of the SPFL contract with the broadcaster after an approach over showing the table-topping match against Aberdeen a week on Saturday. The Scottish Premiership fixture is scheduled for a 3 p.m. kick-off, meaning it cannot be broadcast due to the TV blackout rules. A deal between the SPFL and Premier Sports handed the company the right to broadcast 2 additional games from any Scottish Premiership stadium, on top of the Sky Sports agreement. Premier Sports' Scottish football contract, separate from their League Cup sponsorship, offers the right to cover up to 20 games live on TV. Sky Sports have the main Scottish football TV deal, with up to 60 live matches to be shown a season from the Premiership. That contract runs until 2029. However, Sky Sports will not show the match between Celtic and Aberdeen, having already broadcast from Parkhead twice, from the maximum of 5 at each ground, and with selections made in early September. Premier Sports could have stepped in to cover the match live for an additional £75,000 fee, which is double to £150,000 if 2 matches are broadcast from one venue in the season. But Celtic have knocked back the offer and opted out of the contract. It is thought that club staff did not wish to inconvenience season ticket holders by moving a kick-off time at short notice from the scheduled arrangement. As quoted by the Scottish Sun, Rodgers said, "I think the club has shown they have really thought about the supporters. They could easily have taken the money, but they have kept the games there for supporters who come and see them. It's a shame. It would have been a great game for television, but it's not to be. It allows us to get a good run into next week and a bit of recovery time before we play again on the Wednesday. We will be ready to go. You cannot win really when it comes to this kind of thing. But the club have put the fans first, and that is important. Celtic get a lot of fixtures moved. We know Celtic supporters will go anywhere at any time, but it's about offering that bit of respect to them when we can, when it's something we can control, like the kick-off times. So I think the club has made a very good decision." Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, October 10. Souness rips into Postecoglou. Report by Ewan Payton. Graham Souness has ripped into former Celtic manager Ange Postecoglou for his naive and lucky approach to football. The Rangers icon has been less than impressed with Tottenham in recent times, Postecoglou's current side. The Australian took over at the Premier League giants during the summer of 2023 after winning the treble for the Hoops. It was his high-octane, high-pressing, all-out attacking style of football in the Scottish Premiership that earned him the move to Tottenham. However, there have been more than a few occasions now where his approach to the game has not worked in England's top flight, and Souness has branded it naive as opposed to brave. When I think of Ange Postecoglou, I go back to that game against Chelsea where they got 2 players sent off, and he still had them playing right up to the halfway line, the 71-year-old told Simon Jordan and Troy Deeney on William Hill's 3 Up Front podcast. The only time you can do that is when you've got 11 players on the pitch and the ball is constantly under pressure. The minute someone can get their head up, you are in trouble. They could have conceded 4 or 5 more goals that game. I thought that was naive. It's naive to talk like that and say that the more open the game is, the better it is. If they had lost that game 7 or 8 goals to 2, you have lost the players as a manager. He was not brave that day. They got lucky. He's walked into Tottenham without bringing any of his own staff. Is he so naive as to think he can trust any of the coaching staff he has inherited not to go to the chairman with their tittle-tattle? I would not take a job and think I can just walk into it. It's madness. You need to go in with people you trust, because being a manager is lonely. On Spurs' most recent game, a 3-2 defeat at Brighton in which they collapsed to throw away a 2-goal lead, Souness questioned the team's leadership on the pitch and added, "The Tottenham players should have known better. You learn it at school. When you're 2-0 up, the next goal is vital. If you concede, the momentum is suddenly with the opposition. But if you go to 3-0, the game is over." I don't know if Spurs have any leaders. When they go into the dressing room at half-time, that club should be, "We cannot concede the next goal. This game is far from over." That's what Ange Postecoglou should be telling them. He needed to remind them that if they were to concede, everyone's going to be all over you. I think the issues at Spurs boil down to the manager and the coaching staff. The only message they needed to give the players in that game when the half-time whistle blew was to play more of the same. Spurs just ended up capitulating, which is why Postecoglou was so deflated after the game. He thought he had some warriors in that team, and it was proven otherwise. Report by Ewan Payton. Even Times Sport, October 11. Liam Scales reflects on maiden Ireland goal. Report by Robbie Hanratty. Liam Scales is not best known for his goal-scoring exploits, yet the Celtic defender has now netted during a UEFA Champions League match for his club, and bagged his first for his country within the past month. The 26-year-old Scales headed home Liam Brady's free kick to give the Republic of Ireland a deserved equaliser in their UEFA Nations League away clash against Finland last night. Brady then grabbed a last-gasp winner to seal maximum points in Group B2. Scales barely put a foot wrong throughout the 90 minutes, as he relished earning just his 6th international cap. Speaking after the match, the Hoops centre-back reflected on the special moment and explained how getting on the score sheet for Ireland had always been a personal goal. And he said, "It's brilliant, it was a great feeling, and the fans just make it that bit better. We've been due a win, especially away from home, and to win it like that was brilliant. We work hard on set pieces, and we are told to attack in between the spaces. It was just one of them where I have attacked the space and the balls arrived. It happened so quickly that you're just trying to get as much good contact on it as you can to direct it. And luckily enough, I did. I don't get many. I've had a few this season already. I think in the last 10 or 15 games I've had more than I had in the previous 2 seasons. Droughts come as well as a defender, but hopefully I can chip in with a few more. It's always been top of the list for me, so to check that off is amazing. I'll reflect on it tonight and take it all in. Match winner Brady was also quick to praise Scales' contribution, simply stating, "He's done unbelievable to get himself a goal." On Ireland ending a 3-game losing streak, Scales added, "I think it will give us confidence, and I think that's been missing. We want to make a habit of winning tough games away from home, winning games at the Aviva. We want to make it a habit. We don't want to make it a one-off. We want it to become more regular. So that's the plan. We want to take the confidence into the next few fixtures and hopefully pick up as many points as we can. Report by Robbie Hanratty. Evening Times Sport, October 11. Manchester United chiefs should be arrested for selling Scott McTominay. Report by Robbie Hanratty. Manchester United should never have allowed Scott McTominay to leave the club in the summer. This according to former Celtic forward Paulo Di Canio, who believes the Red Devils hierarchy should be arrested for selling the midfielder. McTominay had been at the English Premier League giants since a kid and went on to make over 250 first-team appearances. He even played 43 times, scoring 10 goals last season. Pretty good stats given his position. Now, after sealing a £25 million move to Napoli in Serie A, the Scotland international has not looked back. The 27-year-old has already cemented himself as a key player for the Italian giants, who top the domestic league after 7 games. McTominay has 2 goals and an assist from 5 outings so far, and he's evidently begun to rekindle a strong connection with former Manchester United teammate Romelu Lukaku. So it is no wonder Di Canio is observing the situation unfold while McTominay's old club struggles and reckons offloading the player was a big mistake. Di Canio, in an interview with Il Mattino, said, "I would go to those at Manchester United to arrest all the directors. How can you give away McTominay? McTominay scored goals, he carried the cross, he had determination, and yet they kicked him out. Nothing works at Manchester United, a club that only does stupid things. You cannot guess anything." Report by Robbie Hanratty. Evening Times Sport, October 11. Kenny McLean plotting return to winning ways for Scotland. Report by David Irvin. Kenny McLean has been over the course for Scotland before. The Norwich City midfielder has experienced campaigns successful and less so throughout his 44 caps for the national team. The 32-year-old McLean earned his first cap in 2016 and has been a regular squad member from his second call-up the following year. The former St Mirren and Aberdeen ace has been involved in some huge moments for Scotland, scoring the penalty shootout win over Serbia to reach the Euros in 2020, or more recently netting a late winner against Norway in the remarkable turnaround in Oslo last year. Steve Clarke would dearly love McLean to pop up with another vital contribution this month against Croatia or Portugal to end a dismal run of 1 win in the last 14 outings. It is the worst run McLean has endured for the national team, but perhaps is clouded by the different standard of opposition now than in recent campaigns. On what will be required to take a result against Portugal, McLean said, "I think finding that wee bit more quality at times in the game. We've gone well to get to this level, but we don't want to stop there. We want to keep improving, and I think playing these games and these tough opponents, that's what you need to do. You need to keep improving, and I think we will keep improving coming up against this opposition. I think we'll learn more than some of those defeats than going and playing lesser nations that we've done in the past. I think it is about evolving and trying to get better. We obviously know that small mistakes and small errors do lead to goals at this level. Maybe we'd get away with that in the lower pots, but it's not the case. We need to really dust up on that, and going forward, we need to carry a bit more of a threat and punish teams more. We had a lot of chances against Poland and we didn't really punish them at the right times. And I think that was the main one in that game. We had big chances at big moments that we didn't take. So both ends of the pitch, both boxes, we need to improve, obviously. But as I say, I think sometimes you can learn more from those defeats than going and playing against lesser nations. Scotland coach John Carver suggested the national team might need to struggle in the short term to taste success again in the future, and McLean agrees. And he said, that's the plan, improving, learning and adapting from losses. That's what we need to keep doing. Again, regardless of me being older or younger lads in the squad, everybody needs to keep improving and keep doing the right things. Keep taking on the messages from the managers and the coaches, because that's the only way we're going to get better. As I say, nobody wants to be losing games, but you can definitely take stuff from the games that you're losing as well as the games that you're winning. There has been some good stuff, but we don't want to say it's been good because we've not been winning games. That's what it's all about. It's all about winning games, but we want to do it playing the right way as well, and we're trying to do that. Despite the difficult run of results for Scotland, McLean is unwavering in his belief in himself or his teammates moving forward. And he continued, I think belief has to still be there. I don't think you can come away with having belief in what you're doing. You do so much at your club, and you work your nuts off, to be honest, to be in this position. So I don't think you can work that hard and then come away from here and not have belief. The manager has put his belief in you by choosing you to be here. So I think we need to take confidence from that to start with. And then when we come away, we need to get together as a group and do a bit more. I suppose because, as I say, we really want to turn results around. But that's going to start on the training pitch and working as hard as we can and doing everything that's asked of us. If Scotland are to achieve a result in the Nations League, then they will have to do so without a number of key players all over the pitch. John McGinn, Scott McKenna and Angus Gunn miss out through injury, with Callum McGregor having retired from international duty. McLean, though, is certain there is more than enough character in the squad, even in the absence of some big personalities. And he continued, I think we've got enough personality, enough quality, enough character here. When the new boys come in, yes, obviously the first day is going to be a bit different in lads settling in, but it's an easy squad to come and settle into. And these lads, they're here on merit. They've worked hard to get here, so they're going to come away and they're going to enjoy themselves and try and impress. So again, it's not going to be a case of missing a couple of players and thinking, I wish he was here. It's not like that at all. It's about helping the lads that are coming in and encourage them to do what they're doing back at their club and what got them here. Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, October 14. Conor Barron called up for Scotland squad. Report by David Irvin. Conor Barron has been called up to the Scotland squad for the Nations League match against Portugal. The Rangers midfielder was originally in the under-21 side for their fixture against Belgium on Friday, where he started the match at Tynecastle. However, Baron did not travel to Kazakhstan with the under-21 squad and has instead been shuffled into the Scotland first team. It comes after fears Baron had suffered an injury, with reports stating the midfielder was left out as a precaution over a small knock. Now, though, the Scottish FA have confirmed Baron has replaced James Forrest in the Scotland top team ahead of facing Portugal at Hampden tomorrow night. Baron has been a regular through the Scotland youth system, but has yet to win a cap for the men's international side. Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, October 14. Golf. Golden Oldie enjoys silver lining. Report by Nick Roger. The ageing process does not come itself. A twinge here, a hirple there, inexplicable grunts and groans out of nowhere. Even those dunts and dents of yore that were brushed off with youthful, nonchalant resilience at the time, eventually come home to roost. I kicked a tree in the Madeira Islands Open back in 1998, and it's only giving me bother in my toe now, said the 51-year-old Greg Hutchin of a coming together between foot and trunk. I'd hit the tree with my ball, and on my way past I gave it a kick. It was sheer anger and frustration, but the tree won. Here in 2024, it is the indefatigable Hutchin who has been celebrating his own victory with a silver lining among the golden oldies. His maiden victory on the Legends Tour in France was completed with a closing 64 during a thrilling finale that could have been accompanied by the rousing strains of the Ride of the Valkyries. It was a triumph that underlined the Aberdonians' competitive longevity and never-say-die spirit. It also came 25 years after his breakthrough on the second-tier Challenge Tour at the Formby Hall Challenge in 1999. He won't forget that one. Alistair Forsyth and myself were involved in a playoff, he said, and we managed 3 or 4 holes until it was dark and couldn't play any more. And he reflected onwards of a sudden death shootout that would become one of the longest on record in terms of time elapsed. At the time they decided that we would share the title, but Challenge Tour regulations required an outright winner, so the two of us had to go back to Formby 2 weeks later to finish it off. It was a unique situation. That 1999 campaign would turn out to be a pretty good one for Hutchin, and another product of Bankery Golf Club. A certain Paul Lawrie won the Open at Carnoustie. Without seeing Paul playing at Bankery, I probably would never have got to the tour, said Hutchin, of those formative days in his golfing education. The phrase, seeing is believing, really does mean something. I always remember when Bankery was a par 67, and I watched Paul go round in 57. Amazing. I was a lucky kid. You don't get someone like Paul coming along very often. I was the dog's body at Bankery. I got to hang out with him, practice with him, and watch him grow into a major winner. It was hugely inspiring. Hutchin never managed to establish a solid foothold on the main European circuit. There were some sore ones to deal with along the way, and we're not meaning that ruddy tree trunk. Recalled Hutchin, I remember at the Challenge Tour Grand Final in 2001, Richard Bland shot 29 on the back nine and won it with a 63. He had to win, and I got knocked out of the promotion places to the main tour. That was a hard one to take. I thought I was home and dry, but you never count your chickens in this game. Despite a potentially career-ending shoulder injury in his early 30s, Hutchin's defiance and desire kept him plugging away, and he remained a popular and enduring presence at various levels of the professional ranks. "I just never gave up," said the former Scottish PGA champion, whose cheque for around £45,000 for his win in France was the biggest of his long career. "And despite my injuries," he said, "I tried to keep playing. I still love the game. Golf would drive you crazy if you let it. If you play golf long enough, you will understand why us Scots invented whiskey. You have to accept that on some days the game just beats you up, but you just try again the next day. There's no secret to my longevity. Olive oil on my toast and honey in my coffee? I don't know. As for the travel, the week before my win in France we were in India, so I flew from Delhi to London. My Aberdeen connection was cancelled, so I got the next one. I got to my house at 4 p.m, did a load of washing, repacked, my alarm went off at 1:45 a.m, and I had a 4:30 a.m. check-in for the Edinburgh to Paris flight. It was a mental journey, especially at 51. Maybe that's why my toe is sore. I keep kicking the seat in front of me in economy class. The perks of being a champion, though, may allow him to put his feet up for a long haul to Mexico next month. I've treated myself to a better seat for that one, he said with a chuckle. Report by Nick Roger. Evening Times Sport, October 14. Ronaldo gets ready to face Scotland. Report by Robbie Hanratty. Scotland is gearing up for an exciting clash against Portugal at Hampden tomorrow night, with the National Stadium completely sold out. The high demand for tickets, despite a pretty dire run of form, reflects the anticipation of fans eager to catch a glimpse of Cristiano Ronaldo, who continues to make headlines in international football as he edges closer to age 40. Ronaldo showcased his exceptional talent throughout Portugal's 3-1 victory over Poland on Saturday night. The 39-year-old star played a pivotal role during the UEFA Nations League match in Warsaw, scoring his 133rd international goal. He netted the second goal for Portugal in the 37th minute following a swift move where Rafael Leao's shot hit the post, allowing Ronaldo to pounce on the rebound. Earlier in the match, Ronaldo nearly found the net with a clever flick that struck the crossbar, but it was Bernardo Silva who opened the scoring for Portugal with a well-timed finish in the 26th minute. Speaking after the match, Portugal manager Roberto Martinez explained why Ronaldo was substituted on 63 minutes, despite being at the heart of his team's best play. He said, "The substitution was important because it's part of us managing the players. We have 2 games in 72 hours, so we took Cristiano off so he would be ready for the second game in Scotland. Diogo Jota came on for him and did very well. It is important to use the players we have on the bench. Cristiano is in perfect shape for our next game." Evening Times Sport, October 14. Scotland's match of hope against heavyweights. Report by Robbie Hanratty. Scotland is poised to set an unwelcome record if they lose to Portugal, which would mark their longest losing streak in the nation's 152-year history. Following their latest setback against Croatia, Steve Clarke's win rate as Scotland manager has dropped below that of both Craig Levein and Alex McLeish during his second spell in charge. The national team has managed to secure just one victory in their last 15 matches, and they now face Portugal at Hampden Park, hoping to avoid a fourth consecutive defeat in the UEFA Nations League and a total of 5 losses overall. Historically, Scotland has never endured 5 straight defeats, making this upcoming clash critical, not just for Clark's future in the role, but for the country's pride. As Scotland gears up to welcome Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal, they find themselves in a challenging position, marked by a history that includes numerous struggles and what-if moments. The Scots have faced significant adversity in the past, having suffered 4 consecutive defeats on 5 different occasions throughout their footballing journey. The first instance dates back to 1965, when Scotland fell to a formidable line-off that included Italy, England, the Netherlands and Portugal. Just 8 years later, in 1973, the team faced another tough stretch, losing to Northern Ireland, England, Switzerland and Brazil, showcasing the competitive nature of international football during that era. Fast forward to the early 2000s, and Scotland's woes continued. In 2002, they endured a disappointing run against France, Nigeria, South Korea and South Africa. The following year saw a similar fate, as they were beaten by Netherlands, Wales, Romania and Denmark in a string of matches that left fans disheartened. The most recent occurrence of 4 consecutive losses came in 2019, when Scotland faced defeats against Belgium and Russia twice. However, they managed to break this streak with a commanding 6-0 victory over San Marino shortly afterwards, providing a glimmer of hope. Report by Robbie Hanratty.
That concludes this week's edition of the Glasgow Times Sports podcast. Please remember to subscribe to our channels at Q and Review and to tell your friends about our service.